Chapter 1. The Quiet Grandeur of Gare de l'Est. The platform at Paris Gare de l'Est is a threshold between two different worlds. On one side, the modern commuter trains hum with high-frequency electricity, their passengers lost in screens and schedules. On the other side, polished steel and deep blue livery stand in silent elegance. This is the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express, a living relic of the golden age of travel. As you approach the carriage door, the smell of coal smoke and hot oil catches in the air, a sensory signature unchanged for over 100 years. The polished brass handles catch the light, and stewards dressed in royal blue uniforms stand at absolute attention. There is a quiet anxiety that settles over the traveler here. It is the realization that you are not simply boarding a train. You are entering a space governed by a century-old social code. To step across this threshold is to agree to a set of unwritten rules, a performance where every passenger plays a part. The first test begins before you even step inside. It lies in the way you carry yourself and the way you prepare for the journey ahead. A ticket here is not just a fare. It is an entry pass into a high-society social circle that values discretion, history, and decorum above all else. Inside the corridor, the transition is immediate. The walls are paneled in polished mahogany and inlaid with intricate wood designs created by master craftsmen of the 1920s. The air is quiet, dampened by heavy carpets and thick drapes. As the train pulls away from the station with a gentle rhythmic tug, the modern bustle of Paris fades into a distant memory. You are now inside a moving theater. To navigate this space successfully, one must understand the silent language of the corridors. When two passengers pass each other in the narrow wood-paneled hallway, the etiquette is precise. One must step into a cabin recess, offering a polite nod, allowing the other to pass without friction. It is a small gesture, but it sets the tone for the entire journey. It signals that you respect the shared space and the peace of your fellow travelers. On this train, hurry is considered a vulgarity. Everything moves at a slower, deliberate pace, matching the slow roll of the steel wheels below. Chapter 2. The Geometry of the Cabin. Your cabin is a masterpiece of space management, a cabin designed during an era when luxury was measured by craftsmanship rather than square footage. The steward shows you the features of your compartment, pointing out the hidden washbasin behind folding marquetry doors and the dual voltage outlets hidden in brass boxes. During the day, the cabin features a plush sofa, a small folding table, and a single window that looks out onto the changing French countryside. The unwritten rule of the cabin is simple: keep your belongings contained. Historic compartments leave little room for clutter, and a disorganized cabin is seen as a breach of personal discipline. Large suitcases are stored in a separate baggage car, leaving you with only a small overnight bag. This is a deliberate choice, forcing you to select only the essentials for the journey. The relationship with your cabin steward is another key element of the luxury rail code. The steward is not a hotel clerk. They are your personal host, guardian, and guide through the landscape. They anticipate your needs before you express them, preparing your cabin for dinner and converting your sofa into comfortable bunk beds while you dine in the evening. The conversion of the cabin is a silent ritual. When you return from the dining car, the day room has vanished, replaced by crisp white sheets, plush pillows, and a small glass of mineral water on the bedside table. To maintain this relationship, a traveler must show mutual respect, acknowledging the steward's work and keeping requests reasonable. In this tiny wooden sanctuary, the traveler discovers that luxury is not about excess, but about the perfect arrangement of small details. A single grand suite on this train can cost upwards of €7,400 for a single crossing, a price that secures not just a bed, but a private universe of quiet comfort. Chapter 3. The Dining Car Theater. As evening approaches, the social expectations of the train shift dramatically. The luxury rail code is most visible in the dining cars, where dress codes are strictly observed. For lunch, smart casual attire is acceptable, but dinner is a formal affair. Men are expected to wear black tie or dark suits, and women wear elegant evening gowns. To dress down for dinner is considered a serious social error, a sign of disrespect to the history of the train and to your fellow passengers. The act of dressing up is a communal ritual, transforming the dining car into a glittering gallery of another era. The dining cars themselves are historic treasures, each with a unique design. One car features Lalique glass panels depicting classic figures, while another is decorated in black lacquer paneling from the 1920s. The choreography of dinner is a marvel of balance and timing. The waiters carry trays of lobster, beef, and fine wines down the narrow corridors, matching their steps to the sway of the train as it travels at 80 kilometers per hour. Crystal glasses chime softly against porcelain plates, a continuous soundtrack to the evening. The etiquette of conversation here is subtle. The dining cars are intimate spaces, and tables are close together. The code requires that you keep your voice low, sharing private conversations without disturbing neighboring tables. Cell phones and tablets are strictly prohibited in the public areas, a rule designed to protect the sensory experience of the journey. To check a screen at the dinner table is to break the spell of the past. Instead, the focus is on good food, fine wine, and real human connection, a rare luxury in the modern world. Chapter 4. The Crossing of Borders. In the quiet hours after midnight, the train leaves the flat fields of France and begins its climb into the Swiss valleys. The sound of the engine shifts, becoming deeper and more rhythmic as it tackles the mountain passes. Through the window of your cabin, the dark shapes of the Swiss Alps rise against the night sky, their snow-covered peaks catching the faint light of the moon. The crossing of national borders is handled with quiet efficiency. While you sleep, the train staff manages the passport checks and customs declarations behind the scenes, ensuring that your rest is never interrupted. This seamless transition across borders is a key part of the train's magic, allowing you to wake up in a new country without the stress of modern security lines. Morning on the train brings a new set of sights and sounds. The steward knocks gently on your door, delivering a tray of fresh coffee, warm croissants, and fruit. As you enjoy breakfast in your cabin, the train winds past mountain lakes and wooden chalets, the scenery moving past your window like a living painting. The visual pacing of the journey is therapeutic. At 80 kilometers per hour, the landscape is not a blur, but a detailed story of European life. You see farmers tending their fields, children waving from platforms, and small mountain towns waking up to the morning sun. It is a style of travel that invites contemplation, a quiet contrast to the stress of air travel. Chapter 5. The Arrival in Venice. As the train nears its final destination, the mountain valleys give way to the flat plains of northern Italy. The air grows warmer, and the light takes on a soft, golden quality. Passengers gather in the bar car for a final drink, sharing stories of their journeys and exchanging contacts. The unwritten rules of departure are just as important as those of arrival. It is customary to leave a gratuity for your cabin steward, a gesture of appreciation for their constant care over the past 30 hours. The packing of your bags is done with care, preparing for the transition back into the modern world. The arrival at Venice Santa Lucia station is a dramatic conclusion to the journey. As you step off the train onto the platform, the quiet bubble of the vintage carriages is replaced by the lively sounds of Venice. The smell of the canals and the calls of the boatmen fill the air, a sensory shock after the quiet luxury of the train. You have traveled from Paris to Venice, not in a matter of hours, but through a century of history. The unwritten rules of the luxury rail code have guided you through this space, helping you appreciate the value of slow travel, quiet detail, and shared respect. As you watch the blue carriages sit quietly at the platform, you realize that the true luxury of the journey was not the fine food or the polished wood, but the time to simply sit, watch, and reflect. Which of these historic European rail journeys would you choose to experience first? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to join us for more authentic, slow travel explorations.